What's happening, people, and welcome back to the Tiki Taka podcast, where you're going to hear unbiased opinions, hot takes, and hopefully have a couple laughs on the way. And today I'm joined by Michael again. Michael, what are you saying?
Talk to me. What's going on, people? How are you?
And today, obviously, because it's an international break, we don't have the fixtures to talk about, so we got a special episode, and we're going to be discussing the best Premier League team ever. Now we got a list of 8 teams. Obviously, some teams haven't made it. We will discuss a couple honorary mentions, but we haven't based our decisions purely on what these teams did in the Premier League. We've done it based on what they've done domestically as well, and how they performed in the Champions League, and taken everything into account there.
Skill set.
So the way we're going to do it is, we've got the 8 teams. I've assigned them a random number. Michael's going to pick 2 numbers, and then those 2 teams are going to have a head-to-head almost. So we'll have like 4 quarterfinals, 2 semi-finals, and a final, and then we'll discuss the teams in a head-to-head. So just to go through the teams, firstly, the couple honorary mentions. We had 97-98 Arsenal double winning team with Overmars, Anelka, Petit. A lot of people say that's Arsenal's best team, but I think because that was slightly before
our time.
Yeah, before our time, we might not have as much to talk about, so we left that one out. The 11-12 Man City team that won their first title.
I was shocked to see that you left this one out as an honorary mention, just because it's a great team, and obviously I think it was very pivotal to just setting the tempo for Man City moving forward. But it was also a great team. Yeah. I think it might be better than, for example, the 15-16 Chelsea team.
Yeah.
I think that Man City team could beat that 15-16 Chelsea team.
Wait, the Jose one or the Conte one?
Sorry, the Jose one.
Yeah. The Conte that one didn't make it either, which was a good team.
Which is also a good team.
I think the only reason I kind of didn't have that one in the list is because I think there's 2 better Man City teams.
Which is fair enough.
And if three of the 8 were Man City. But yeah, that was a great team. And then obviously we have to mention the 15-16 Leicester team.
Yeah. It's funny about that team is because on paper it can never win any battle versus any other great teams in the Premier League, but always should be mentioned just for what they were able to achieve.
What they managed to achieve. Jamie Vardy breaking goal scoring records, Riyad Mahrez and N'Golo Kante. It was a great team.
But if you put Okazaki versus any other...
if we're talking about the greatest Premier League teams, I don't... But obviously, as you say, it deserves a mention.
Yeah, 100%.
So, without further ado, we'll get cracking with the episode. And Michael, give me 2 numbers, 1 to 8.
I'm going to go for 2 and 7.
What? None of this was pre-planned, by the way. So that's the 07-08 Man United team against the current treble winners 2022-2023 Man City team.
Shit.
So
I was literally about to say that it seems like an unfair fight, because I think that 07-08 Man United team is unbiased opinion is actually, I think, the best team in the Premier League.
Really?
Unbiased opinion. So I was going to say it blows out almost any other team, but that treble-winning team is cold. And I think in the cold light of day, and I was telling people this last season, I think, I don't know, Man City won the treble, and there was a lot was made about it, but at the same time, because it was Man City, I don't think anybody saw it as a big deal. But I think when we look back 5 years, 10 years from now, you'll be like, damn, that team, they had this person and this person and this person,
like the midfield of Rodri, KDB and Gundogan.
Yeah, come on. I think they achieved everything. Obviously they achieved everything, but so did the treble team, to be fair. So it's 2 trebles going against each other. And
this one, Man United won the league and the Champions League, right? That's 07-08 team.
But it was more or less not the treble winning team, sorry, the 3-peat team. I think that they went one more after that, didn't they? And then so this Man City is also a 3-peat team. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it's 2 3-peat teams instead of 2 treble teams going against each other. What it's interesting. I don't even know where to start, sort of between defense or attack. But okay,
let's start in defense.
Start with defense.
Vidic and Rio against Stones and Diaz. It's tough, isn't it?
Yeah, you know why? You know why it's tough is because
Stones and Diaz still playing.
the Stones and Diaz are still playing, and like the nostalgia of
Mm.
Vidic and Rio, just hearing those two names together,
Yeah,
you're thinking, oh, long day.
that is the best. It's probably the best centre back partnership
You've seen
ever in the Premier League, right?
yes, yes and no. Yes, because for the longevity of
Or
it,
the Chelsea team, actually.
because I was going to say like
yeah. To be fair,
like Tyrion Carvalho is a long day,
yeah.
but I agree.
I think for how long, obviously,
yeah, exactly.
Ferdinand lasted.
Yeah, but it's funny you say that because I think Edison is better than Van der Sar.
Really?
Yeah,
You think he's a better goalkeeper than Van der Sar?
yeah. I think Van der Sar is
People speak very highly of Van der Sar.
great goalkeeper.
Yeah,
Great goalkeeper. For especially for his time.
yeah.
You can't say anything wrong about him. People speak down on Edison. They think he's a bad shot stopper.
Mm.
I'm not one of those people. I think Edison is
I don't think he's a bad shot stopper.
an above average shot stopper.
Yeah, but he's not. I don't think he's not great.
He's not I don't know, he's not Allison or like I've come to accept that. But I honestly think Edison is actually a really good shot stopper. He just doesn't really get those, he doesn't get tested like a Pickford, like
It's
an
true,
Allison,
it's
like
true.
but I also just think that
Van der Sar was an insane shot stopper.
Van der Sar was an insane shot stopper, but that was his game.
Coming out for crosses. Yeah. I think
but Edison, his footwork, you cannot.
I think this is the thing. And I think obviously this is where these debates are great. And obviously if you're listening, let us know your thoughts in the comments. But I think a lot of our debates are going to come back to the era of
the football,
right? Because Edison playing with his feet, he's brilliant at it. But Van der Sar was never asked to do that.
I would say in his era, Van der Sar is a better keeper than Edison. In his era,
yeah. I think we got to talk about. Well, we'll talk about the midfield players as well.
But who would you take? Sorry, over Vidic and Vidic Rio?
I think I would go. I think Stones and Diaz is a great partnership. But I think I would go Ferdinand and Vidic.
Yeah.
I think given what they've won, obviously, I mean, these Man City players have won a lot now as well. But I just think currently, I think that partnership would, because Rio was also kind of ahead of his time in a sense. He could play in this era.
Yeah. He could definitely keep up with all the top strikers.
Yeah. And I think Vidic was more of like an aggressor.
Do you know why I keep Vidic and Rio as well? Is because, unfortunately, because of Pep Roulette. And we don't, as much as we fuck with Diaz and Stones
could play right back.
It's just like you actually you just never know. They probably only play about 7-8 games together as central defenders. Whereas Vidic and Rio is every game.
Yeah.
If they're there, they're central.
They're playing,
So you have so much to pull from sample size in terms of seeing them defend against top class strikers and winners.
I think as well, centrally, you've got, we touched on the Man City midfield, Rodri, KDB Gundogan against Michael Carrick, Paul Scholes.
Yeah.
Maybe Owen Hargreaves was there.
Yeah.
Anderson.
Yeah. Hargreaves and Anderson. I can't Carrick and Scholes.
Yeah. I mean, Carrick, I think, obviously we've sung Rodri's praises on this podcast, but I think Carrick is he's different. He wasn't English.
Yeah.
The way he played the game, he wasn't English. I think he's one of the best midfielders the Premier League's seen.
Yeah, you and I have both eulogized about Carrick.
Yeah.
He's so slept on.
Yeah.
So underrated. And nobody really talks about him as a football player since he finished his career.
He never really got picked for England.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But his footballing ability, his passing range.
Yeah.
I honestly don't think you could name, other than Scholes, a player with a better passing range than Michael Carrick.
He had every type of pass in his
every type of pass of any distance. He could hit the
both feet.
90-yard diag. He could do the short ball.
He had the Tony Cruz edge of the box shot as well.
He's
the finish,
super, super, super cold. And
well rounded.
Yeah. But I would go with Gundo, KDB, and Rodri.
I think as a three,
exactly.
I think
exactly. It's the perfect balance of defensive and offensive. And I was even seeing what was I watching? I can't tell if it was Germany highlights or Barcelona highlights. And I just saw Gundo in the mix, and it was nothing special.
Yeah,
he just laid a perfect sort of slide rule ball to somebody to come onto it who finished it.
Yeah,
and I just thought, that's
what he does.
That's Gundo.
That's his game.
That's Gundo.
I think we've spoken about how how great Gundogan was, especially in this season, in this 2022-23 Man City team. But I think the conversation we were having about KDB when they kind of started to take the title away from Arsenal was, is he the greatest Premier League midfielder ever of all time? Has he reached number one on that list? And I think what he did in this particular season, especially in the run-in, like Champions League in the Bernabeu, KDB scores.
Do you know what I particularly like about KDB's run-in was that he didn't really have he wasn't really around for the beginning half of the season. He was injured, he was out. Pep was getting onto him from like not doing his job.
Yeah, maybe wasn't getting picked.
Yeah, Pep was saying that, the KDB that runs around and doesn't stop moving is the best, the best version of KDB or whatever, and he hasn't been doing that for us, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So I really, really like the fact that because KDB already has a catalogue. He already has 5-6 years of just doing it at the highest level in the Premier League.
Yeah.
So for him to come in and just like fine tune it and just be like, I'm ready, I'm here to win now, goals and assists right now.
Yeah.
Like I'm not one of these guys that like I take a while to get to that point.
Yeah.
If I'm fit and I'm ready to play, I have output.
Yeah, exactly. In
like,
the biggest games.
In the biggest games.
On the biggest stages.
Away from home. Yeah. At home.
And I think obviously we need to talk about the front lines of both these teams. Obviously Erling Haaland, the main guy for Man City in that team, Jack Grealish, Riyad Mahrez a bit, Phil Foden on that, Bernardo Silva. But even with Haaland, I just think that Man United front three in that team is probably the best.
That was going to be the question I was going to ask, and when I was saying should we start with the defense or the attack, is like, would you take Haaland for all intensive purposes a 50-goal a season striker versus three people like Rooney, Tevez, and Ronaldo that can be interchanged in that front line anywhere?
I mean, I don't know.
Just like, as a manager, Pep was like, look, I've got a 50-goal a season striker, feed him the ball, feed him the ball, feed him the ball. Whereas Alex Ferguson was like, I've got three dogs up top who all want to score as much as each other, and I have to create a system that gives them enough. Like they all get roughly 15 to 20, all comps. Like, what would you prefer as a manager? One guy who's like, he's the guy, no bullshit, he's the guy, let's feed him, versus I've got three guys who are all very, very, very good. And I need to figure out a system to like maximize.
To facilitate. I think as a manager, I think you have to go with the three players that could, because it's
one guy
less
injured.
risk, right? It's when you have obviously Haaland is so good that like it's you can't really just kind of shut him out, so to speak. But whenever I think Brentford did it well last year. They shut him out twice in their 2 games. I think even if you shut out Rooney or Tevez or Ronaldo, one of the other two, or both of them.
Guys like Jason Park were in there.
Yeah,
not that he was a prolific goal scorer, but he was a guy who could get a big goal.
Valencia making an impact.
Yeah.
So I think this is tough because I just in my head I had that Man City team high up, but I think I would go with the United team.
I'm still going. As I said before, I think the 07-08 United team for me is like, unbiased opinion, just it had everything. The team literally had everything in it: pace, power, technique, a winning mentality.
They also won the Champions League.
Yeah, I just think you would not want to come up against that team. And I think also as well, what holds City back a little bit is their style of play. Because that United team was like pretty ferocious, like win play, get the ball,
attacking,
get the ball
quick.
Just, I think Man City like over the season might win more games, but it's just the like pass them to death type of stuff.
That's definitely a more exciting team to watch for sure. Yeah. And of course, personal preference is going to come into this, no matter who you are with. I'm sure you guys might have these conversations between yourselves. But yeah, okay, cool. So 07-08 United going through to that first semi-final.
Yeah. My next 2 numbers, I'll choose 1 and 3.
1 and 3. All right. So that's the 1920 Liverpool team.
Mm-hmm.
And just so you know, we're also going to include their 18-19 obviously Champions League win, because it's a very similar team.
Yeah, same era.
I think the only player that really came into the starting 11 was Fabinho. So yeah, we're going to include that as well. And 3 is Conte's Chelsea team in 16-17.
Okay.
What are you thinking?
I am taking. I don't know why I'm actually stuck on this.
I think this is difficult because both these teams are they were two of my favorite teams to watch. I think that 16-17 Chelsea team, I think people talk about the way that Pep Guardiola influenced English football.
Yeah.
And he has massively. There's no denying that. But I think Conte did it before, because let's not forget Pep Guardiola was in the league
At this time.
Yeah. But Conte came in, started playing three at the back. Not only did you see other Premier League teams, then we saw Arsene Wenger do it, who we only ever saw play 4-2-3-1. We saw now in the Championship, the teams that come up, nearly all of them play a three at the back. And yeah, I think just throughout English football, a lot more teams started playing three at the back because of what Conte came and did.
No, I agree. There is no doubt that Conte did kind of change English football with that system. I remember how momentous it was for us to see a different formation other than 4-2-3-1 for an Arsenal side. Even though Oxlade-Chamberlain was playing wing back and all this kind of stuff, it was still, we had just honestly I'd never seen an Arsenal team for 20 whatever years play with three central defenders and wing backs.
You never really saw it in the Premier League.
Yeah, it wasn't. It
was a very Italian thing.
The way it is commonplace now.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Sheffield play free. When they came up and they were playing free, but last time, Luton play free at the back.
Yeah, any team now with any defensive issues, you start off just going with three at the back.
Yeah, facts.
You know, if
West Ham did it last year.
Yeah, if you have any I'm not too sure that we're leaking too many. All right.
Yeah. Arteta when he first came in did it.
Literally. So I agree that I don't even know if he did get enough credit for his influence post just winning that season for playing three at the back.
And I don't know if they still hold. I think Man City might have beaten it, but after this season they had the record for most wins in a Premier League season. They won 30 games.
Oh my god!
Out of the 38.
Yeah, and I remember they actually lost a game. I think they lost and drew after they had already won the title. They definitely lost the game.
Yeah, they lost. I think they lost to like West Brom. Or
yeah. After they already had clinched it.
But 30 wins.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's already 90 points.
It's crazy. It is crazy.
Costa, Hazard, Willian, Pedro,
David Luiz.
Oh man, I was seeing some of Pedro's goals the other day.
Yeah.
The guy was just off both feet.
I don't think David Luiz in the middle of of that three.
Yeah, we need to speak on David. If we talk about this team, we need to talk, because I don't think that team does anywhere near as well without David Luiz.
David Luiz in the middle of that three. I mean, I don't think
key.
I don't
so
think
key.
I think he can actually only go so far with a three or five at the back, three at the back system, however you want to call it, without a elite ball playing center.
Top level
central midfielder, central defender. Just because you sacrifice so much in midfield.
Yeah.
In terms of creativity and just possession and all this kind of stuff, that unless one of your centre backs is pretty much a midfielder,
like a number 6 basically,
like David Luiz was,
because Kante and Matic aren't like creative guys, or even Matic, to be fair to him, had a bit, but they weren't like playmakers.
The thing about Kante and Matic is they're actually both decent on the ball, but they're not playmakers. They're
tidy. They'll keep possession.
They're tidy. They're not loose. Touches aren't flying off them anywhere, but they're just not creative people. So I think Conte, he deserves a massive credit for making that system work. And then the Costa Hazard,
Costa Hazard link up,
the Willian substitute for Pedro substitute for Willian thing that was going on back
Victor
then.
Moses, Marcos Alonso,
Azpilicueta just playing anywhere.
Like, I mean, Marcos Alonso in that season as a wing back was immense.
Yeah, it was phenomenal.
But Hazard doing what Hazard does.
So, are you taking that defense over Liverpool's VVD, Alisson, Robertson, Trent? Because we, as much as we're guessing, Trent and Robertson for a time were pioneers in wing backs or whatever, left back, right backs, being Van
Dijk and Gomez,
and just like output.
Matip.
Trent and Robertson, no one had ever seen that output. They were saying that fullbacks are going to replace number 10s, and this is the end of number 10s, and there's no such thing as creative midfielders anymore. Fullbacks.
So I mean, what Trent and Robertson were doing for those couple of years was unheard of. the way they were creating goals, scoring goals. Trent in particular, I think the way the midfield worked. Obviously, if you're going to have the creativity from Trent, you've got Henderson, Wijnaldum, Fabinho, or Ox even.
Yeah.
Like I think the team was built very well, and then the front three. I mean, I remember this Liverpool team. This year they won the title. They didn't lose till what, February or March in the league.
That team was so
How many points clear of Man City? They're the earliest ever Premier League winners.
Yeah.
They won it, I think, 2 games after COVID. When they came back
by January they were already 15.
Yeah, you knew. Like, I think they played Man City in December and at Anfield, and they beat them 3-0, and that was it. It's like, oh well, yeah, these guys are definitely gonna win.
Yeah, I so
also performed in the Champions League.
Yeah, that Liverpool team has done very, very well. So in terms of who would you?
I really don't.
So just starting with the defense. What defense would you prefer? Because Marcus Alonso was getting goals and assists.
Yeah.
Victor Moses wasn't really getting goals and assists, but he was locking it down.
Gary Cahill.
He was doing his thing.
Solid.
Yeah. Cahill, Luiz.
Aspie doing the shift.
Like,
but you know what? I think I would go for the Liverpool one, because I think for the way that they played, the pressing game that they played, and for that back four to play on the halfway line and be as solid as they, like, we see so many teams struggle with it now.
Yeah.
For that back four to have played on the halfway line and do as well as they did, I think Van Dijk, when he was at that level, was the best centre back in the world. Yeah. I know you have a Van Dijk agenda, so
to be fair, I have a Liverpool slightly agenda. Like, I agree with everything you're saying, but I just never connected with that Liverpool team.
Yeah.
I just never connected with that Liverpool team. So I probably would go for the Chelsea team, just
Chelsea back five.
For the Chelsea back five, for the simple fact that that's a backline full of men. Like, those are robust. Those are robust people that will do whatever it takes to win. And I think a lot of attacking trios, duos, one man, whatever, you're going to struggle coming up against Gary Cahill, David Luiz, and Aspie. The intelligence and size of all of them, and then the outlets of Alonso, who can put a great ball in the box, and Victor Moses, who can just sort of run it up the pitch. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's tough. Trent was getting it felt like Trent was getting like 15, 20 assists.
I think the front three is a harder conversation than, I think, Hazard, Costa. Hazard arguably the best winger we've seen in the Premier League, or at least one up there, right?
Yeah.
Probably if he's not one, he's probably two.
Yeah.
Costa, who was ridiculous when he came to the Prem, and Willian or Pedro, and then Salah, Firmino, Mane, the classic Liverpool one. Where I think for how they worked as a cohort, I think I'd be inclined to go to the Liverpool one.
Yeah, they were definitely a better front three. They were.
But it like, I think it's something inside of me dies when I'm leaving out a front three that has Eden Hazard.
Yeah, I agree. No, but I think you kind of have to go for the Liverpool front three, but just because it's like Salah hit 34 goals or whatever he hit that year, which was ridiculous. Mane is Mane.
Yeah,
you know,
big goals, 1-0.
Exactly, 1-0 Mane, as well as Firmino, who at that time was actually still chipping
top level,
still
top
chipping
level
goals.
Yeah.
Like, that was when he was getting 15, 16 Premier League goals.
He was essentially the creative outlet in midfield.
Yeah, 100%. But that I remember when Chelsea went up to Man City and like KDB hit the bar, and then Willian scored, and Costa scored, and then Willian scored, and then Hazard scored.
Costa just bullies Otamendi.
Yeah, Costa bullies Otamendi.
That Hazard goal is
the near post. The near post finishing
rinse his collar.
But even the Willian goal, like Willian Costa. I mean, the whole move, it gets played up to Costa, who holds it, plays one ball into Willian.
Yeah.
And Willian takes one touch out of his feet. Bear in mind,
the angle's tight.
Bear in mind, he picks up the ball on like the halfway line. He takes one touch out of his feet. Like, the second touch is pretty much at the edge of the D, and he lasers it bottom bins.
Side netting.
Yeah. After KDB had hit the bar, and you're thinking like, Man City already, you're like on the ascension. They're gonna equalize.
Yeah.
And then David Luiz gets in Aguero's head, and Aguero like
Yeah.
scissors him to get a red
Yeah.
card in a disgusting challenge. But
Yeah.
that was that Chelsea team.
I think Cesc got Fernandinho sent off as well.
Yeah, there was so much
that Chelsea team. I think like even Conte's like celebrations on the touchline. But we have to pick one.
I would go for the Liverpool team because they won the Champions League.
I would go for Liverpool team as well. But that Chelsea team, I do like it a lot. All right, so they've gone through. The next two numbers,
4 and 5.
This is just Manchester derbies all over the place. So we've got Man City 18-19, and Man United treble 98-99. Quickly on this, I know some of you are thinking, why aren't we giving like an honorary mention to the City Centurions or whatever? We're going to be talking, including that team kind of a bit but in my personal opinion, I know that team got 100 points. The 18-19 Man City team is the best Man City team, even better than the treble winning team, in my opinion. And I think that the Centurions won the league by like 20 points. It was a great achievement to win that many games, get 100 points. But I think to beat that Liverpool team that we've just spoken about, and I think that's the best title race I think I've seen. They both won like the last 11 games or something.
Yeah,
and then to have that sort of pressure, like we as Arsenal fans experienced the pressure of Man City. Liverpool won every single game.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And Man City matched them and won the league by a point.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll talk about that if we get to it. But yeah, 18-19 Man City and the treble winning United team.
I can already tell you I'm going to go for the 18-19 Man City.
We haven't even discussed it yet. How you can't just rule out treble winners like that?
No, treble. Come on, they were nice. You know, it was. Look, they had it in luck. But I think that 18-19 Man City team, as you say, I think it's the quality of teams that they were sort of going up against and dispatching. And I agree with that whole run in with the Liverpool thing, the pressure that was on them. I don't know. The treble winning team probably said that we had more pressure on us, but and I was having this discussion with a friend of like those games, especially those years between Man City and Liverpool.
Yeah.
Or like were those the games of the highest quality in the Premier League? You know, those are the discussions that I think
that game that Leroy Sané scores the winning goal in, is still to this day one of the best Premier League games.
It's great.
The standard in that game.
Yeah, the standard in the game is crazy, is ridiculous. But yeah, I just think, man, that team. That was when I knew that, man, the league is in trouble. You know, like you could just see the conveyor belt coming through of world-class talent and world-class coaching, and there was no real luck in it. Like they were just the better team, and Liverpool were great, but they were a great second-place team.
Obviously, we've just spoken so highly about that Liverpool team, and this Man City team. I come back to it, man. For Liverpool to get 97 points and not win the title because Man City went and won every single one of their last games.
Yeah. There's no team that should finish in the high 90s and not win the Premier League.
The reason why this is my personal favourite Man City team is because Sane, Sterling, Aguero, Jesus, but mainly Sane and Sterling. I think we talk about teams that are exciting to watch.
Yeah,
I think, and we talk about this Man City team pass you to death kind of thing. Obviously, that Man City team was great in possession, but the electric wingers.
I think that is easily the most exciting Man City team to watch, easily for sure, and it is what Sane and Sterling brought, of not just PMP, but actually technical ability, as well. And then you had like just a cold-blooded striker in Aguero, who still didn't even play that many games, but when he was around, was just bagging.
Even his goal in their game against Liverpool.
Yeah,
we spoke about Sane's one, but Aguero's one. But left foot just topper than there.
Yeah, but he always bagged.
Yeah,
he always bagged in the crucial games versus Liverpool in the big moments. So, all right, let's start with the defense.
We'll talk a bit about the 98-99 Man United team.
Yeah, treble winners.
treble winners.
The first of their kind.
Big moments as well. They beat Arsenal. That Ryan Giggs moment in the FA Cup semi-final.
God damn.
They scored 2 late goals. I mean, they beat a Juventus team with Zidane
Yeah.
in the semi-final. They went and beat Man United in the final. They won the league on the last day of the season. From us. Andy Cole, Dwight York, Roy Keane, Yap Stam.
No, York and Cole deserve a special mention. I love that partnership, that duo. I love
Andy Cole, probably one of the most disrespected Premier League strikers ever.
Yeah, he's a man who's done it all.
Yeah,
and definitely doesn't get the acclaim. Even Keane and Scholes, Giggs, Beckham is a very good midfield. Is a very, very, very good midfield. It has all you need at the time anyway. To win those big trophies.
That as a 4, obviously back in the day, a 4-4-2.
It's box standard.
Giggs and Beckham getting up and down. Roy Keane and Scholes got the balance in there.
And Giggs and Beckham can keep it, can put a good ball in. But I think honestly, it only really works because of York and Cole are getting 20 each. You know, because other than that, you have.
And then they also had Sheringham and Solskjaer.
Yeah. I think, and it's tough to compare because of different eras, but that 18-19 Man City team, and I always love this in teams, had goals from midfield. KDB, David Silva, that kind of stuff.
David Silva,
breathtaking player.
That midfield was Fernandinho. Another reason why this is my favorite Man City. Fernandinho, one of the I mean, we used to marvel at Fernandinho's ability to escape a yellow card. And then in front of him, Silva and De Bruyne.
Come on,
David Silva, one of my favorite ever players to watch in the Premier League. Technically so sound.
Back then, for example, somebody like David Beckham and even Giggs would have been the pinnacle of technical ability in the Barclays Premier League. And now, 20 years later, you're looking at KDB playing a reverse ball to David Silva, who plays a reverse ball to Aguero, who does a reverse finish.
The complexity of the game is definitely. But I think, Beckham was technically
still
on any era, very similar level.
On any era it was KDB to
I think I heard Ruud van Nistelrooy say that, and a lot of strikers said this, that I think even Andy Cole said it, that Beckham was one of the best players they could have ever played with, because he put it on a sixpence every time, and they knew exactly where it was going to go.
I think Beckham's ability to sort of see the ball and play the ball before defenders could even react, for a striker like that, for strikers who live on the edge, 100%.
For Ruud van Nistelrooy,
100%. But I just, KDB is like Beckham with PMP now. Can actually break a challenge in midfield and do all the above. But
score goals.
I think that treble winning team from United actually, I don't know, they get more than enough credit. Actually, they were just a fantastic team. They were a fantastic team who were the first of their kind, I think, to do that. With the kings of everything, there's undisputed champ type of domination. And to be fair, it's tough.
I think there's something to be said in that as well. With the fact that they were the first.
They were the first, exactly, to be an undisputed, just with the best team in Europe. And as well, it deserves another set of applause because nobody did it since Man City last year. So it's it literally stood for 24 years. As an achievement that was and there's so many great teams in the middle of that weren't able to achieve anywhere near that. You know, so big ups to them still. But I will take the Man City team, and I think just because of the flexibility of football that the team could play, as well as maybe a bit of recency bias, because I think Aguero was just so cold. I think Leroy Sané at that time, you just can't find a better winger probably in world football. No.
I think in this season, Leroy Sané got 10 goals, 15 assists in the league
at a canter. At just,
big goals.
At just still being rotated, being. Not even necessarily playing on the best wing. Pep was playing him as a left winger. That he was scoring goals versus Tottenham and Liverpool from. He wasn't even able to cut in and shoot. He had to dribble through 3 guys, cut back out.
Having De Bruyne and David Silva feed Sane and Sterling on either side.
Long day.
And I think it's unfortunate because I think this 98-99 Man United team against a lot of the other teams we have, maybe they go through. I think this 18-19 Man City team is, let's not forget, this team won the Premier League, the FA Cup, and the Carabao Cup. So they did the domestic treble.
Yeah.
This 18-19 team.
Yeah.
Obviously they lost to Tottenham in the Champions League. But
in a classic game.
Yeah.
In a
One game that
classic
everyone
game.
remembers. But yeah, what you going with the Man City team?
I'm going with the Man City team.
I think I would agree. I think I would agree with that. So Man City will go through, and then the last two teams are the 03-04 Arsenal Invincibles and the 04-05
Chelsea.
Jose Mourinho. You don't pass Chelsea team.
This is actually the toughest one by far as well, because these are two teams I really, really respect. Yeah. And they were year after each other. So
because for those who don't know, Michael's a big Jose fan.
Yeah. Especially I love it when guys just come to a league and just like, I'm built for this shit. Especially the Barclays Premier League. Conte had that as well about him. Jose coming in and doing a back-to-back. I mean, how ridiculous is that?
But you know what the craziest thing is? Yeah, Jose came in. Obviously, everyone knows that he called himself the special one.
Yeah.
In his like first press conference, I think
when he won the final, it was even like when he won the Champions League final with Porto, he was just like, I think I'll go to England.
Yeah,
I think I will go to England. And
he even predicted, and imagine like no manager would ever do this now, right? But he came to the league in his first season in English football, dealing with the Invincibles, so Alex Ferguson's Man United team, and said, I'll win the title in, I think he predicted April.
Yeah.
Right. And then he won it like maybe a game or two games after when he predicted. I think, and also that I think Joe Cole told a story that when Mourinho first came to Chelsea, he brought all those, because obviously Chelsea hadn't really won anything big or major at that point.
Yeah.
He brought all the players into the meeting room and just said to them and read out one by one what all of them had won.
Yeah.
And I think Joe Cole was saying a couple of them maybe won a Carabao Cup, maybe an FA Cup, but nothing major. And Jose was just like, if you follow me and you listen to me, we'll change this.
Yeah. I think that sums him up, man. He was box office at a time when it was like the Premier League was at the greatest it had ever been at the time. You already mentioned the Alex Ferguson, Arsene Wenger rivalry. And like, I don't think anybody was really expecting a third player to the party.
I mean, Arsenal and Man United had shared the title for almost 9 years, I think.
Yeah. And it's not even just that nobody was expecting a third player. It was like the domination of this unexpected party. They didn't just like scrappily get there and win it. They won it, and then they won it again.
Yeah, back to back.
And then they were going far in the Champions League as well, especially the second year. So
Makelele, Essien, Lampard.
It's cold. Starting with the defense, I actually think you kind of have to take Chelsea's defense, but I don't think you can sleep on
Sol and Toure.
It's exactly Sol and Toure. I just think that for Terry and Carvalho, John Terry at that is right foot, left foot, any way you want it. I'm playing 38 out of 38 games. I'm playing 90 minutes out of 90 minutes. And then Carvalho, first year in the league, Jose brought him with him from Porto.
Just dog, absolutely dog, man. And that Chelsea team still hold the record. And I think, obviously, we've seen other records get broken in terms of points tallies and whatever.
And all that,
that Chelsea record of only conceding 15 goals in the whole season, I don't think that will in my lifetime, I don't think that'll be broken.
It's crazy.
Because
crazy.
The attacking talent in football now, especially in the Premier League, all the best players come in here, to only concede 15 goals.
I don't even think players can come in and gel that quickly.
In 38 games.
Yeah. Yeah. At that, you have Henry in the league. You have the
Ronaldo.
Yeah,
Rooney.
Exactly. You have all of these guys in the league, and to only concede in the whole season, not just like in sections of the season, or that was all you let in.
They lost one game.
Yeah,
obviously we're comparing them to Invincibles. They only lost one.
I think it was something crazy about like there was only one game in the season where they even conceded 2 goals.
Yeah, yeah.
Something crazy.
I think that might have been the one they lost.
Yeah. You know, like every other game is like if you get one, you're only getting one.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is just a crazy mentality to
And
have.
with Robin, Drogba, Damien Duff, who was like the traditional,
exactly.
could go to the touchline, put the ball in, could come inside.
Then Iron Robin,
Frank Lampard, one of the best goals, probably the best goal scoring midfielder we've seen in the league. They knew they would score at least one, probably two, and then they'd win the game because they're not going to concede.
Because they're not going to concede. And Peter Cech was Peter Cech.
Yeah.
Especially that 07-08.
They lost to Barcelona in the Champions League with Ronaldinho, and then so no real skin off their back there. And I think, but this Arsenal team,
I think the Arsenal team
did not lose a single game.
Yeah, did not lose a single game. And I think this Arsenal team gets really interesting as you move forward. The defense was solid. I don't think unfortunately with Sol Campbell and Thuram and Cole, all these guys, is that they're actually just coming up versus the best defense the Premier League has ever seen. Other than in any other conversation, they hold their own. But as you move forward, as you move up the pitch, and you have sort of Vieira, Gilberto,
Perez, Ljungberg,
Dennis, and Thierry. And I was thinking, like, I honestly don't know if you can get a better front two than Dennis and Thierry.
No.
I think that is the best front two English in terms of their ability to mesh and gel, and like you have a creator and a goal scorer, and then also another creator and goal scorer. You know. And they just played off each other so well. Their strengths, their weaknesses sort of highlighted each other's strengths and vice versa. And it was just like, I love Dennis Bergkamp, actually.
Yeah.
I really, really, really love Dennis Bergkamp.
Great player.
And I probably lied when I said David Beckham was like the pinnacle of technical ability. It was always it was always Dennis
Bergkamp. Bergkamp.
It was always Dennis.
So honestly, some of Dennis Bergkamp's goals, even that one he scores for Holland, when the ball comes over, he brings it down, rifles it in.
I just think Dennis also playing with Ian Wright and Thierry. I don't know why, but it just gives me so much.
And both those guys say he's the best player they played with.
Exactly. He wasn't no sort of one trick pony or one system player or this and that. Like, he was just a downright quality. And
everyone thought he was a flop at first.
Exactly. So it's funny because I'd probably take Chelsea's midfield, and I love obviously Vieira and Gilberto. I think Pires is cold, but Makelele.
I wouldn't take Chelsea midfield.
I think Makelele, Lampard, and
it was Thiago in this season, but Essien obviously came.
Essien came.
We'll include Essien in it as well, but Vieira and Gilberto. I think Gilberto, I think, is one of the most underrated, slept on, holding midfield players. I think he was the epitome of I will sit here, break up play, and distribute the ball, and it allowed Vieira to go and do more going forward. I think them as a pair was.
I think them as a pair, it's as good as you can get for a midfield too.
Yeah.
Besides Kante and Matic, and in terms of that's the second best, not second best, sorry, but that's of the guys that we mentioned today.
I think of the Arsenal midfield and that Chelsea midfield. I think Vieira is the best midfielder.
Yeah, Vieira is the best midfielder.
But
then I think it's Frank. Because I think that Frank, especially in the Barclays Premier League,
the
best goal scoring midfielder. And when you look at his totals, Frank was getting 10, 15, 17, 18.
Turning up every season,
And it's tough because because no other team had a Frank Lampard.
But then Makelele, Essien, Gilberto, they're all kind of...
Yeah, I think Gilberto might be the best.
Yeah, I think he might edge it, which inclines me to pick the Arsenal midfield.
Yeah.
It's difficult because obviously it's a 3 versus a 2, right?
A 2. And it's difficult because Gilberto, Makelele, Essien, you can kind of compare and contrast. But we didn't have a Frank.
But if you bring Dennis Bergkamp in as a 10, and you go Gilberto, Vieira, and Bergkamp versus Essien, Makelele, then I think it's Arsenal all day.
Then I see your point.
Yeah.
Then I would go with Arsenal.
If you just because obviously Bergkamp kind of played as a second striker. If you adjust it to kind of match what's going on,
then I would go Arsenal because they have everything you need.
Yeah. And I think you can go Robin over Ljungberg. but
Yeah.
you pick Pires over Duff, and
Over
you pick
Duff.
Henry over Drogba.
Yeah, you would.
So
You would. But the problem
it's
is
tough though, because I thought, but obviously before Michael picked the numbers that he did, I thought this Chelsea team would go pretty far.
go pretty far.
But
I can't go against that invincible Arsenal side.
yeah,
I think that is what I'd give it for not losing a single game. Chelsea was cold, didn't concede many goals. If Chelsea had beaten Barcelona and gone on to win the Champions League, I might give it to them as an edge.
yeah.
But they're actually neck and neck as a team, and the only difference I'm gonna give them is the fact that Arsenal never lost a game. And Thierry.
Yeah, exactly.
And Thierry, who doesn't even really need to be mentioned.
Yeah. We don't need to speak on what Thierry brought to the team. I think this might have been the season or the season after where he got 20 plus and 20, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I would go for Arsenal as well. And then that tees us up for our 4 semi-finalists: 07-08 Man United, 19-20 Liverpool, 18-19 Man City, and Arsenal's Invincibles. So the first semi-final, 07-08 Man United against 19-20 Liverpool.
I already know where I'm going.
I think there's a conversation to be had here, man. The Liverpool team won the Champions League as well.
Yeah, they did. But I just think that Tevez, Ronaldo, Rooney is the best front three you can get in the Premier League. I think it's better than Salah, Mane, Firmino. I legitimately, I wouldn't even.
Just night and day? Just clear.
It's not night and day, but I just think that Salah can hang with Tevez, Rooney, Ronaldo,
Mane.
Yeah.
Mane can hang. Mane can definitely. But bro, when we spoke about that team, we used to say Mane was the best.
I rate Mane, and I did used to say Mane was the best, and he was the best. It's just that, like, I don't know, Mane was not Tevez, and he wasn't Rooney.
I think Mane was better than Tevez.
I rate Tevez. I rate Tevez for West Ham.
The fact that he went to
for Man United
and Manchester, won it there
and
as well.
Man City.
But I don't think that Mane. I personally think the Mane we saw in this Liverpool
was
team
better than Tevez.
Yeah,
I'm not like mad at that. I'm not mad at that, and I think this one generally comes down to personal opinion.
And I think again, like,
I just
we
think
got to talk about the big goals. Like Salah would often kind of,
but Tevez was getting big goals.
Yeah, he was.
Tevez was getting big goals, and Tevez was a guy that could, like, Tevez could hit 25. You know, like, he could.
His Tevez's goal scoring numbers in the league aren't actually that high.
That's the problem.
But he was
also playing as a winger sometimes.
Yeah,
he was,
workhorse, like
doing all these other jobs, or he wasn't playing football for whatever personal reasons, kind of stuff.
But how many times when this Liverpool team, because obviously the team they were going up against a lot was Pep's Man City team. How many times when they played each other did Mane score?
Yeah, it was almost
every. They scored when they played each other in the Champions League. They scored it whenever they played in the league, whether it was at the Etihad or Anfield. Mane would always score.
I'm not mad at Mane over Tevez. I'm not mad at it at all. I just and I have a special place in my heart for Mane as well.
I think the question is obviously because I think Tevez mainly played from the right. You take Salah over Tevez, then you have to take Ronaldo over Mane, right?
Yeah. That's the problem. The problem is Salah can hang, Mane can hang.
Yeah.
Firmino, or like you're talking about, Ronaldo, Rooney, Rooney, Tevez, any one of those guys should be bagging you 20 goals minimum in a 38 game season if they were to start as your number 9.
Yeah.
And I just don't think he can outcompete, outwork rate, outrun whatever that front three. And Salah is somehow getting better numbers than all of them. Yeah. But I still don't think you can, like, outfinish, or, like, if it was a 1-on-1, for example, like, of any of the three, I would probably go with I would back Rooney to bury it. I'd back Ronaldo to bury it. I'd back Tevez to bury it. I'd back Mane to bury it.
In that era, I'd back Salah or Mane.
I'd back Salah to bury it as well.
Yeah. I think Firmino kind of lets them down a bit here. And I rate Firmino in that time. But when you're comparing him to Wayne Rooney, I think the Man United front three take it. I think controversially, I would pick the Liverpool back four.
Is it?
Yeah, I think for Trent, Robertson, Van Dijk at that time. I think I would take that over Neville, Evra,
yes. Enough said. Enough
Vidic.
said.
Yeah. But again, we come back to Carrick, Scholes, Anderson, Hargreaves, whoever it is. I think that probably has to go over the
Henderson,
Liverpool
Genie.
team.
Yeah, there is more.
I think I think it'd be very interesting. Obviously, it will never happen. But to see those two teams play each other.
It would be a very, very. I think it would be a very close and tight knit game. But I think as well,
I think stylistically,
what you can't factor in is that I don't think teams were pressing at the 07 or 08 time. Like I don't think anybody ever cared what Vidic was like on the ball.
Yeah,
and that's just going to be something that United would have to. That Liverpool would have to. Well, United would have to contend with is like,
like it's a different,
and
you
can't even go long. You can't even go long that much because Van Dijk would 90% of that up. So would Gomez, so would Matip.
I mean, Van Dijk again. I know you probably don't want to talk about this, but Van Dijk at that time was there was just no forwards would get into a 1v1 with Van Dijk, and you could just see
just back out.
They wouldn't want it.
Yeah, they just
would not want it with him.
There wasn't an easy path to glory.
Yeah. But yeah, I think we'll go with the 07-08 United team. And then the other semi-final, the 18-19 Man City team against the Arsenal Invincibles. What are your first thoughts?
First thoughts is who's going to stop Thierry?
What, Laporte and Stones?
That's the problem, man. The problem is Thierry is a massive wild card.
Yeah.
With no one has an answer for him. Laporte,
really? He couldn't be stopped.
Really?
Yeah.
Laporte on Thierry, like
that's your guy,
it's
man.
Brown
Laporte.
bread. Yeah. and I rate Laporte. Well, I used to rate Laporte, especially Laporte at this time.
Yeah. Because in this season, Laporte was like it was about him and Van Dijk.
He was like he's coming. He's
left footer. Clean on the ball.
The angles, they were all there.
No, Laporte was top, especially this season.
Yeah, but
Thierry's just gonna
on the shoulder with Dennis.
Perez.
If Dennis ever picked it up in like a half space on the half turn, it was over.
Yeah,
finished. A high line. These guys are just
honestly, it's worked out quite nicely because I think there's a lot of good comparisons we can make here in terms of like Perez and Ljungberg versus Sane and Sterling.
Yeah,
David Silva versus Dennis Bergkamp.
Yeah,
Patrick Vieira and Kevin De Bruyne. Fernandinho.
I think Patrick Vieira and Gilberto Silva could actually really get a hold of that midfield, but I just think that
the wing duos. Who you taking? Perez and Ljungberg or Sane and Sterling? It's tough, isn't it?
It's really tough because of the eras they played in. Like, for example,
but Perez and Ljungberg could play in that team, I reckon.
Yeah, but like,
especially Perez.
Like Perez and Ljungberg, if Perez is to get 10 and 5, it's a good season.
Yeah,
that's a good season for a winger back then. 10 and 5 for Sterling is like,
yeah.
It's like
the game changed.
Like, what went wrong? Should they sell him? I also think that Perez and Ljungberg were more technical players than Sterling. But I think Sane could be...
Sane's the wild card.
Yeah, I think he can be as good as them technically and then also has the pre-ACL pace. Blistering pace.
Yeah. He's kind of the best of both of them, isn't it?
Exactly.
With like Perez's kind of technical capabilities and Ljungberg's kind of pace and goals in big games.
Yeah. I just... I would probably go Sterling and Sane just because of recency bias and just the fact that those are two wingers that I would expect me to get honestly 18 and 10, 18 and 8, in the season. And I think any fullback is having a nightmare against them. Even on an off day, like if Sterling or Sane was to come up against the winger 10 times out of 10 and lose, they're having a really bad day and lose 8 or 9 out of those duels. The one time they got past them, it's a goal.
Especially Sane.
Yeah. The one time he ripped you, or the one time you just overcommitted, whatever it was.
But I don't know.
Pires was
Perez,
there. Yeah, Limburg was nice. If
I
Limburg
mean,
got,
their end product was top as well.
If they got Roundry, it was a very long day.
Yeah. I think defensively, again, we
Defensively, I might actually go.
We also haven't spoken about Kyle Walker yet, who I think we should talk because he's in both these Man City teams.
True.
I think we can,
but
I think unanimously he's the best right back in the Premier League
has ever seen. But I think Kyle Walker deserves his praise and love because no one actually thought that, you often see guys who come into the game with a lot of pace and it's like, yeah, he's quick, but he's never gonna learn how to play football. And Kyle Walker did.
Yeah,
he improved. He's not the best.
That was thrown at him a lot, especially because it was Pep.
Yeah, exactly. He's not the best technical player, but his game has improved so much technically.
Yeah, a
so
lot,
much.
A lot. He like, we wouldn't describe him as like a technically kind of, obviously not like a Trent kind of like but in terms of where he was at Tottenham and where he is now, he's improved a lot for sure.
I think the biggest compliment you can pay Kyle Walker is that, like, you came into a team full of literally like 10s and 8s.
Yeah.
And you're not a liability on the ball. Yeah. Like like guys you can give it and go. Guys aren't triple pressing you because they think you're easily just going to give them buckets.
He went there and won the league in his first season.
Yeah.
They won it again.
And then just pushed on.
Yeah. I mean,
but I do think that Ashley Cole was Kyle Walker before Kyle Walker, but like, in terms of, he would eat up that left field. Nobody was
better going forward.
Exactly. No one was getting around him. Had that technical ability from the jump. Like countless guys have just said, I never used the even double team with Ashley on my wing. I would just let Ashley clean that guy up, and Ashley would tell me, leave him with me. He's not getting around me. Yeah. Just stay in their half, attack.
Obviously, Ashley Cole's battles with Ronaldo are infamous. And obviously, we spoke about Mane was probably the only winger that we've seen kind of get the better of Kyle Walker fairly consistently. Other than that, like, we saw Kyle Walker lock up Vinicius.
Yeah.
Like,
he's been
big time.
He's been huge.
Yeah.
I think Kyle Walker, no winger in the world wants to come up against Kyle Walker. But I think no winger in the world wanted to come up against Ashley. And I also
especially because Ashley Cole was going to send them that way as well.
I also think that Laurent, I was going to say Thuram for a second. Laurent, deserves a mention, not because he's
but a solid 7 out of 10
just
every week.
Had the legs. You weren't going to get around. It wasn't going to be easy. He would he could also sort of he could provide you something to think about going forward on an overlap. So I might lean towards the Arsenal defense for the simple fact that Colo and Sol Campbell are just rock solid.
I think that's a better partnership than Laporte and stuff.
Exactly. Just rock solid. Just like, going to win every ball in the air, going to win every sort of ground jewel, aren't going to shock out of any challenges. Can come up against several different types of attackers and succeed and like sort of really stamp their authority.
I think the only thing for me that potentially holds this Arsenal team back is, obviously, it's a great achievement for them to not go for the whole season without losing a game. And no one's repeated that, but they lost to a Chelsea team, Ranieri's Chelsea team in the Champions League, a game that they should have won. They were a better team than Chelsea. They should have won that game. They lost to Man United, I think, in the FA Cup semi-final. Obviously, it's funny to say they only came away with a Premier League, but in terms of this conversation, that Man City team did the domestic treble.
I think the thing that holds the Arsenal team back is, unfortunately, their style of play versus Man City's style of play. Because I can see the game. If it was to actually happen in real life, it would look something like 80% possession to Man City, 20% possession to Arsenal. And it's just like, if Thierry, when he was finally played through, if he buried it, how that would change the game. Because other than that, I think, like, I was going to say Rodri, but I think Fernandinho, KDB, David Silva would just keep and sort of try their best to play around Vieira and Gilberto. Not easy, I mean, obviously not easy.
It's tough.
I just think that their style of play would, like, when Arsenal had the ball, they'd have to use it. You'd have to just sort of be direct, go straight to goal, no faffing around. And then Man City would try and, like, jab, until they
Yeah.
Finally, there was, and Kohler would give him something, you know. Kohler would swing a boot at something or someone. Like I don't know. It takes like it takes a different level of concentration. Because Kohler and Aguero, I also don't. The trickery, not even trickery,
but big soul could have him, man.
But that's as well is like now you've got David Silva and guys doing reverse passes to a point where it's like Aguero just needs. It doesn't even. Aguero is a guy who needs one touch to get his shot away, or one touch the defender sticks his leg in there trying to do something, and Aguero's already gone to ground, and it's like it's a stone wall.
Yeah.
But we have Thierry.
Yeah. Again, like I mean, we keep coming back to that. I think the other thing again, and we mentioned this before, but I think it's just it's such a like good metric to use for, especially when we're talking about the great teams, is who they were competing against. And obviously that Arsenal team were competing against Fergie and Man United. But I don't think that Fergie's team actually did that well this season. And for that Man City team to do what they did, to go toe to toe for Liverpool, to have them both get, because Man City needed to draw one game, and Liverpool would have won the title in like their last 10 or 11. And how many times do we see? I remember in that title race, Gary Neville was saying these teams will drop points because history dictates that in a run-in you drop points. No one's ever done it, even when they went close again and City beat them by a point. They dropped points in the running. I think they both drew a game. But for both of those teams, when the pressure is at its highest,
not drop points.
Both teams playing in other competitions, for Man City to come out on top, even just by a point.
So then, all right, let's go.
The Leroy Sané moment.
I think let's go for 18-19 Man City, just so that we also show.
I think so. I think
it's an unbiased show.
Yeah, exactly. Because just to put this out there, if we were basing this just on what these teams did in the Premier League, for me personally, it'd be Arsenal without a doubt, because the greatest Premier League team is the team that couldn't be beaten.
Yeah,
right. Just factually, the best teams on that couldn't lose.
Yeah.
But because I kind of knew if that Arsenal team come out on top, it's just going to be bias accusations everywhere. I was like, let's include what they've done outside of that. So our final, and Man City have played Man United in this like mini tournament everywhere. But the best Man United team, in our opinion, 07-08 against the best Man City team, 18-19.
This is tough.
Yeah. Pep versus Fergie.
Yeah.
Rooney versus Aguero.
Yeah.
And now we're comparing Scholes and Carrick to Fernandinho, KDB, David Silva.
Yeah. I know my answer. I can't justify my answer.
Well, let's. I think obviously we've spoken about these teams quite a lot. I just think.
I think if they were to play for one football match, somehow, some way, Fergie would get it over the line.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
I think somehow, some way, Fergie would get it over the line. There would be
but we've seen Pep play against Fergie. And Pep kind of taught him a lesson.
Yeah. I agree.
And that's no disrespect to Fergie, because that's the greatest football team.
No, I agree. But I just like, if this was an English Barclays Premier League game played, at Wembley, I kind of just think that there would be an unsung hero. Whoever we're gonna
Park.
Exactly. Whoever we're gonna talk about wouldn't win the game.
It
would be Sylvester. It would be.
We haven't even spoken about Nani, who was also part of that team.
It would be. It would be Fergie's, in this day and age, fourth sub. 5 minutes to go. And it's not even because Fergie's given him a tactical, go, mark this man, stay in this pocket of space. He's just looked him dead in the face and said, "Soldier, I need you."
Yeah.
And this guy is
Soldad.
Yeah. And this guy is like, whoever he's going to bring on is ready to die. He's straight up ready to give his life for the club.
That Man City team wouldn't have won the league in the way they did if they didn't have that quality.
I agree. but I think it's somehow different. Like I just think that like
Fergie had a different kind of like
yeah
hold on his
yeah
players in a sense, but I mean, you're talking about probably the two greatest Premier League managers ever.
yeah.
Um,
I just don't.
as teams, I think again the United defense probably beats the Man City defense. I think they're more
I agree.
solid, but I think
from midfield,
and
it's really
again
tough.
we've eulogized about Carrick. We all know how good Paul Scholes is, but I think midfield. You go Man City, Fernandinho, KDB, David Silva.
I agree with you. I do slightly agree with you, but I don't think it's gonna like. I think, for example, if Carrick or Scholes won it in midfield, I think what happens now is somebody wins in midfield for Man City. Man City keep the ball for 10 minutes. Like I think Scholes and Carrick could do that.
Yeah, they could definitely.
Could like get hold of it and get their guys going and keep the ball. And then remember, you have Tevez, Ronaldo, Rooney. So if anything does fall into the box, if there is a half chance, it could well and honestly be put home. By any of those guys. And then I think like it's one of those games where whoever scores first kind of wins type of thing. I just think if that 30 United team went ahead, mentally, like trying to get past that midfield and the defenders and just the mentality of we're not gonna let this, like they know what happens to them if they lose this game, if they let points drop, the bollocking that they get. But I agree. I think they have
Aguero gets one chance. Bang.
But I can say that about Rooney, Tevez, or Ronaldo.
Yeah. And that's why these two teams are in the final.
That's the problem. I can say that about Rooney, Tevez, or Ronaldo. If they get one chance, it's over.
Who would it be? Sane up against Gary Neville? I mean, Sterling, Patrice Evra was solid as well, but Sterling can rip him on that side. Sane will get a lot of joy on this side.
But you just know Tevez would run Laporte.
Yeah. And he'd help Neville out.
Yeah. He would run Laporte ragged.
For me personally, I think that Man City team was just on a different level. I think obviously both these teams are great teams. That Man United team went and won the Champions League as well. They won in the FA Cup final 6-0.
Yeah.
They won the Carabao Cup. 6-0. Again, I keep coming back to the way they won that Premier League. I think the team as well. I think I think as a team to watch, is just up there.
Because obviously I know that Man United won that title, but I don't know
how much they won it by.
What the table actually looked like.
Because they beat Chelsea in the Champions League final. Chelsea's had Avram Grant as their manager. I think Arsenal might have been chasing them, to be fair.
You think?
I think this might have been the season when Clichy messed up against Birmingham. Yeah, I think this might have been that season.
Nightmares.
When Gallas is crying on the pitch.
Yeah.
I think this might be that season. I'll get it up quickly. But what you think?
I still kind of lean towards United. I really do. And I as I said, it's not because I can justify the reason. I just have an innate feeling that Fergie would. It would be like sort of sending guys out honestly for a kamikaze mission, and like everybody would be on board. Like Gary Neville would give he would put his life on the line.
Yeah,
Rio, Vidic, Evra, and I just think that when they wouldn't jump out of a challenge. They wouldn't like Fergie would have them so fine tuned for this game.
Yeah,
that like it would feel do or die for the players. Wouldn't be able to come back and look their wives and children in the eyes. Like I think honestly, that's how he was running.
I mean, that's what Rio says after Rome and Wembley. I mean, we saw Fergie try that, like,
and I just think that
run everything, like cover every blade of grass, and Pep's football.
Yeah, but like that Barca team is just like
it's level. But I mean,
and the problem is that I'm assuming that there would be context coming into this game. Like it would be like that Barca team. English football had just never seen anything. Fergie could have had a year to prepare for that.
Yeah, and it probably wouldn't have made it.
Yeah, he just the players themselves, false nines, and like they'd never seen anything like that. Rio had nobody. He had nobody to mark.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Facts.
So I think it's just like it's so tough.
Yeah, I just think it obviously not in terms of the quality, but I think stylistically.
Yeah.
we're still talking about guys like David Silva,
Yeah.
Kevin De Bruyne,
Yeah.
Fernandinho, who could play.
I hear that.
But yeah, in that season, Man United won the league. They finished 2 points ahead of Chelsea with 87 points and 4 points ahead of Arsenal.
That is how the Premier League seasons.
Yeah,
should
it's a tight race. To
So
be
maybe
fair.
I'll give it to Man City. Maybe for the simple fact is that should how like Premier League seasons should be finishing 87, 85, 83.
Yeah, and I mean this team got 98 points.
Yes, yeah, fair.
Off the back of getting 100 before.
Fair.
And they were chased down by a team that got 97.
Yeah, no, I hear it. For those accomplishments, because I saw that Man United lost 5 games and drew 6.
Yeah,
it's just never.
Yeah.
No Premier League.
I mean, Liverpool lost 1 game
to
Man City when Sane scored, and they didn't win the league.
Yeah. The levels now that we're at are.
I think at one point City was 7 points behind.
Yeah, the levels are so brazy.
Yeah. I think that team just when they got in motion and they were fluid, I think they were just taking the game away from. So, what we saying? 18, 19 Man City.
I can after seeing that table. My gosh, you just can't lose 5 games, and you just can't lose 5 games anymore and still be crowned champions.
And there you have it.
And there you have it, people.
In our opinion, after much debate, we think the 18-19 Man City team is the best Premier League team. If you agree, disagree, whatever your thoughts are, let us know in the comments.
Tell us who you think we missed out.
We should be back with our, obviously this was international break, but we should be back with our Premier League roundup after the weekend's games.
Regularly scheduled programming.
Yeah. We thought, for the people who do listen to this, we thought we'd put out an episode in the international break.
Sure.
So thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah.